future where we are forever confined to one planet until some eventual extinction event, however far in the future that might occur? Or do we want to become a multi-planet species and then ultimately be out there among the stars and be among many planets, many star systems? And I think the latter is a far more exciting and inspiring future than the former. And Mars is the next natural step. In fact, it's the only planet we really have a shot at establishing a self-sustaining city on. And I think once we do establish such a city, there will be a strong forcing function for the improvement of spaceflight technology that will then enable us to establish colonies elsewhere in the solar system and ultimately extend beyond our solar system. And so there's the defensive reason of protecting the future of humanity, ensuring that the light of consciousness is not extinguished should some calamity befall Earth. But also, and that's the defensive reason. But personally, I find what gets me more excited is the fact that this would be an incredible adventure, maybe like the greatest adventure ever. And it would be exciting and inspiring. And there need to be things that excite and inspire people.
Yeah.
There have to be reasons why you get up in the morning. It can't just be solving problems. It's got to be, something great's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
It's very important to like the people you work with. Otherwise, life, your job is going to be quite miserable. And in fact, we have a strict no assholes policy at SpaceX, and we fire people if they're. I mean, we give them a little bit of warning, but if they continue to be an asshole, then they're fired. But when I was in college, I thought about what are the areas that would most affect the future of humanity, in my opinion, and the three areas were the internet, sustainable energy, and space exploration, particularly if humanity becomes a multi-planet species. There's kind of like a pretty substantial bifurcation in our sort of future if we're either out there among the stars on multiple planets, or if we're confined to Earth until some obviously eventual extinction event.
Yeah.
Not that I'm pessimistic about life on Earth. I mean, I think things are likely to be good.
But even
more likely to be good by far.
Yellowstone's due for an explosion every several hundred thousand.
Exactly.
Simon knows about that. So, yeah. It's been 700,000 since.
Right. Right.
But yeah. Super volcano. For those of you who don't know, it would envelop the
Yeah. No. Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
we read the same books. I can tell.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, something bad is bound to happen if you give it enough time. And civilization has been around for such a very short period of time that these timescales seem like very long, but on a evolutionary timescale they're very short.
Yeah.
A million years on evolutionary timescale is really not much. And Earth's been around for 4.5 billion years.
Yeah.
So that's a very tiny amount of time, really. But for us, that would be. I mean, can you imagine if human civilization continued at anything remotely like the current pace of technology advancement for 1 million years? Where would we be?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're either extinct or on a lot of planets.
Yes, we should.
I simply look at the future and say, what is the thing that will actually work? And using a non-renewable resource obviously will not work. So we must find an alternative. But if there was a button I could press to stop all hydrocarbon usage today, I would not press it.
You would not press it?
Of course not.
Okay. Did you expect him to say that? You would not press it
would cause
because
human civilization to come to a halt.
every hospital would have to close down.
That would be ridiculous. So it would be irresponsible to press that button. But what does need to happen is to, if we can, accelerate the transition towards renewables. That's the sensible thing to do. If you take, I'm going to use maybe two examples. Saudi Arabia, since the Saudi Aramco president spoke here, Saudi Arabia has an enormous amount of sunlight. And that will be there for billions of years. Well, at least 1 billion years until the sun eventually engulfs us. But 1 billion years, solid.
Bit more maths there.
You've got a solid billion years there. So it seems that investing in the solar resource is the thing that's really going to preserve the long-term future, not so much the oil and gas. I mean, that's a temporary thing. In the future, we'll look back, and by future, I'm not talking about super far in the future, I'm talking about towards the end of the century. We will look back on gasoline-powered cars the same way we look back on coal, as sort of a quaint anachronism that's in a museum. Well, as far as climate change skeptic, I believe in the scientific method, and one should have a healthy skepticism of things in general, and if you approach things from a scientific standpoint, you always look at things probabilistically, not definitively. And so I think a lot of times, if somebody's a skeptic in the science community, what they're really saying is that they're not sure that it's 100% certain that this is the case. But that's not the point. The point is that is to look at it from the other side. See, what do you think the percentage chance is of this being catastrophic for some meaningful percentage of the Earth's population? Is it greater than 1%? Is it even 1%? If it is even 1%, why are we running this experiment?
Right,
Because
you called it a Russian roulette. We're playing Russian roulette with the atmosphere.
we're playing Russian roulette, and then and as each year goes by, we're loading more rounds in the chamber. It's not wise. So that's and what makes it super insane is that we're going to run out of oil anyway. Like, it's not like there's some infinite oil supply. We're going to run out of it. So we know we have to get to a sustainable means of transportation no matter what. So why even run the experiment?
Right.
It's the world's dumbest experiment.
Baidu's chief scientist Andrew Ng recently said during an interview that worrying about the dark side of artificial intelligence is like worrying about overpopulation on Mars. How would you address that? He said it's a distraction to with scientists being artificial intelligence.
I think that's a sort of radically inaccurate analogy. I know a bit about Mars. So the risks with sort of digital superintelligence, and it's important to appreciate that it wouldn't be just human level; it would be superhuman, almost immediately. It would just zip right past humans to be way beyond anything we could really imagine. I think a more appropriate analogy would be like if you instead of saying nuclear research with the potential for a very dangerous weapon, releasing the energy is easy. Containing that energy safely is very difficult. And so I think the right emphasis for AI research is on AI safety. We should put vastly more effort into AI safety than we should put into advancing AI in the first place. Because it may be good or it may be bad. And it could be catastrophically bad. It could be the equivalent of nuclear meltdown. So you really want to emphasize safety. So I'm not against the advancement of AI. I want to really be clear about this. But I do think we should be extremely careful. And if that means it takes a bit longer to develop AI, then I think that's the right trade-off. We shouldn't be rushing headlong into something that we don't understand.
Bill, I know you share similar views with Elon, but is there any difference between you and him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, he actually put some money out to help get some of the coin on this, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. You know, for people in the audience who want to read about this, I highly recommend this Boston book called Superintelligence. But the basic point that Elon just made, that we have a general purpose learning algorithm that evolution has endowed us with. And it's running in an extremely slow computer. Very limited memory size, ability to send data to other computers. We have to use this funny mouth thing here.
But it's also
whenever we build a new one that starts over, it doesn't know how to walk.
Really long root process.
So believe me, as soon as this algorithm taking experience and turning it into knowledge, which is so amazing, and of course we have not done in software. As soon as you do that, it's not clear you'll even know when you're just at the human level. You'll be at this superhuman level almost as soon as that algorithm is implanted in silicon. And actually, as time goes by, that silicon piece is getting ready to be implanted. The amount of knowledge, as soon as it has that learning algorithm, it just goes out on the internet and reads all the magazines and books and things like that. We have essentially been building the content base for the superintelligence. You think you're using the internet, that's actually what you're doing. So, I try not to get too exercised about this, but when people say it's not a problem, that really, then I can start to get really in a point of disagreement. How can they not see what a huge challenge this is.
It's worth noting, I'm not sure if people are aware of this, but the world could be powered many times over by solar if you had enough battery capacity to pair with it. Many times, like...
The world? I mean,
Probably
obviously
by-
California, where you're
No.
based, but in Europe?
times
Can you really say that in Europe?
1,000. It's literally true. The amount of energy that reaches the Earth from the sun is staggeringly high. We have this enormous fusion generator in the sky that is lobbing out vast amounts of energy. And I'm talking about just using land area. I mean, it's really amazing. In fact, here's a little tidbit. If you take a nuclear plant and you took its current output and compared that to just taking solar panels and putting solar panels on the area used by the nuclear power plant, because these typically have a big keep-out zone, of about maybe 5 kilometers or thereabouts, where building houses, and dense, any kind of dense office or housing space. Usually, people don't want to do that near a nuclear power plant. So there's quite a big keep-out zone, and when you factor the keep-out zone into account, the solar panels put on that area would typically generate more power than the nuclear power plant. Something that I think people may be only beginning to look at is establishing some kind of brain-computer interface.
A brain-computer interface.
Yeah, at the neuron level. So this is sort of intelligence augmentation as opposed to artificial intelligence.
Right.
And I think that has a lot of potential.
You mentioned to me yesterday. I really had kind of no idea what you were talking about, and then I looked up Ian Banks, neural lace.
Neural lace.
That's right.
Exactly.
And so it's this concept of wiring the brain. So it's either there could be a brain internet, and it could also mean that we can upload our thoughts to the cloud.
You would never forget anything. You wouldn't need to take photographs.
Yeah. I know, it's incredible. I mean, you would never forget anything. You would expand your ability to process information, to remember information, right? But then when the denial of service attack happens,
You gotta watch out for hacking. That could really be awkward.
watch out for that. But also, then I read it can also be used to fight degenerative diseases like Parkinson's too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it actually would be quite an equalizer as well, because I think the delta between it would sort of even things out. I think.
You mean humankind? That
Yeah,
people
yeah.
there would be no education disadvantage. Everyone would
Yeah.
be starting at the same level.
Yeah.
So there would be no meritocracy. No, there would be new meritocracy.
There would be, but it would be the differences would be smaller. The delta would be smaller, probably.
Wow, and you really welcome that kind of world.
All right, welcome. You asked for predictions.
Okay.
But predictions are not the same as
That's right.
preferences. So, I mean, do I think something like that is likely to occur? I think probably.
Wow.
It's like computers. I don't expect to create numbers or anything like that. So it's really, and I think it is better to approach this from the standpoint of saying, rather than like you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to make money, it's like, what is some useful thing that you could do that you wish existed in the world? And then try to get other people to work with you to create that thing, actually making it better and better. And if you do create something useful, then money will be the result. But that's just the way that the properly working economy kind of rewards the creation of useful goods and services. And if you're creating something that you love and you think other people will love, it's much easier to sort of sacrifice the time and spend the effort. And if it doesn't work out, you don't regret it. It's good to go.
Man, I never thought I was someone who could ever be capable of a nervous breakdown. But I felt this was the closest I've ever come, because it seemed pretty dark.
T-minus 30 seconds, mark.
Toward the end of 2008, SpaceX prepared its fourth attempt.
We were running on fumes at that point. We had virtually no money.
So a fourth failure,
would have been absolutely game over.
done.
Done.
SpaceX bankrupt.
Yeah, it's bad enough to have 3 strikes. Having 4 strikes, it's really kaput.
But Flight 4 was flawless. In Musk's world, it lit the darkness. Then, as often, the week of Christmas became a time when little boy dreams are answered.
NASA called and told us that we'd won a $1.5 billion contract. And I couldn't even hold the phone. It's like, I just blurted out, I love you guys.
They saved you,
Yeah, they did.
financially and maybe even emotionally.
I'll tell you what, that was definitely helpful. Yeah.
2 days later, on Christmas Eve, Tesla's investors decided to pour in more money. So you were saved in the period of 3 days
Yeah.
by 2 completely unexpected events.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for sure.
Liftoff of the Falcon 9. The rockets haven't failed since. His cargo capsule has docked 3 times with the space station.
Capture is confirmed.
And in the California plant, they're fitting seats for what they hope will be eventual manned missions. SpaceX is also testing a rocket that can be reused, softly landing on a column of flame. Another step on a longer journey.